Cool. Hello and welcome to this Gauntlet Hangout game of Band of Blades. We'll be playing as a part of the Legion, trying to recover from the lost battle with the Cinder King and get to the Skydagger keep and make a last stand. I have with me some great players from the Gauntlet here, playing our character this week. For slightly rotating cast, I think we have some who will be in most games. I think Param, you're in all of them, and Steven, you're in all but one, I think, for now at least.
Yeah, something like that.
And then we have our guest stars, Horst and Landro, who are with us for this first session.
Hello.
Hi, yes, only here this one time, and then you'll never see me again. Until maybe November, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see if your original specialist will survive all the way until then.
Oh yeah, and that's me, Parham.
Cool. So we have all just made some characters, some specialists, and I'll just drop you right into the fiction. I think we'll be we're escaping from the Cinder King and have a mission to blow up the Hosselbrook Bridge. Which to slow the advancing forces of Render. Render's troops are usually heavily armored. We can see things like plates of metals, literally nailed to people and stuff like that. They are pretty hardy, but not very fast usually. But who knows what surprises Render has up their sleeves. I'm just gonna read a quick intro to the missions. Is there any questions before that?
In terms of the time period compared to our own world, where is this world? Like, do we have guns? Do we have cars?
Yeah, it's like gunpowder era.
Okay.
Yeah, it is like that. There is also some like clockwork technology and stuff like that. There's definitely but it's still not like industrialized. So that's about like fantasy developed a little bit, but with some developed technology like guns and some clockwork technology, ballistas and stuff like that.
Yeah. So transportation is still like horses and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's conceivable that you could make a steam engine, but it would take like a lot of work. I saw a Band of Blades.
By default, we don't have it. If you wanted something like that, it would take a lot of work and effort. Is basically.
Yeah, it's possible.
I would like to have a clockwork tank then, please.
Well, you'll have to be with us for more episodes, I think, if you can do that.
Yeah, signing up now.
Yeah, cool. That's a great hook into getting people to play, I guess. If you stay around for the whole season, you can get a clockwork tank. So, I'm just going to read this flavor text for setting up the first scene. The commander has issued orders. The marshal handpicked you all. The quartermaster left the last of the chemicals, and the army continues its march into the distance. On the horizon, the dust of the undead army heads this way. If they are to be slowed at all, you must destroy this bridge, and do not let anything stop you. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make a 10-segment bridge demolition clock. The charges must be placed on like several hard-to-reach locations about the bridge, and you can basically how this works is that in Blade or Band of Blades or Blades like games, a lot of the time for bigger things, I'm just gonna put up a clock. You can your characters can do pretty much like anything that is conceivable with your skills. that will make sense fictionally to work towards filling that clock. But and when the clock is filled, you have done the thing. So in this case, the demolition of the bridge is the thing. So when you filled all the 10 segments of the clock, you can blow up the bridge.
Sorry, I missed how we advance the clock, like how we fill up the clock.
Just getting successes on rolls relating to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So you're pretty free in terms of like to what or how you do it or with which attributes. It's definitely a lot of different ways you could go about that. So that's a lot up to you. So you basically in this game you have a lot of narrative power to do things the way you want. But first I think I'm gonna put up this clock. Actually, let's see here. 10 clock. So I'm putting the 10 clock down on the map, down by the western front.
So if someone wants to make their own clockwork tank, they need to also start their own clock on their character sheet, or
yes, exactly.
so you can have more than one clock for like in the game.
Oh, we will probably have a lot of clocks. Don't
Yeah.
you worry.
Okay. Yeah, lots of clockwork.
Yeah. So excellent for making clockwork tanks. Cool. So I'm gonna describe how it looks here. I think it's pretty rainy. It is. Let's see. There is actually a season that it's supposed to be here. I'm gonna look here. It is at the end of summer. It is like pretty warm, but it is like this kind of warm and quite like damp weather. It's with water that when it's raining it's pretty warm still. I think there is some thunder in the distance, and you can see like you can I think you almost can hear the sound of like the whole Cinder King army marching not so far from on the other side of the bridge. You're standing, you're seeing that it's a lot of it. The water is very high and running strongly through the river. It's a lot of water in the river right now. You see there is it's night, so you can't see very well, except when the lightning strikes, and you see that the cobblestone bridge is also like pretty is like glistening in front of you. There is some old like carts and stuff left on the bridge, like this other like things that are left behind from when you went over the bridge to get to this battle that you just retreated from, that you could take cover behind, but also will be in your way. There is also some recruits with you from the Silver Stags. There is six recruits. There are I think let's actually see. I think probably Raghav. You see that they are standing like in a row, like they have there's 2 rows of 3, and they're just like looking and a little bit nervously collectively, I think, then don't know quite what to do when we're finally here. What do you do, Raghav? Do you command them to do anything, or?
No, at this point I'm just looking around to see if anyone is close by who we can like go out with, because I'm assuming we're on the other side of the bridge, right?
You're on the other side of the bridge from the Cinder King army, yes. Luckily.
Yeah. So I guess we, yeah. So at this point, what I'm mostly trying to figure out is what I can do to put one roadblock in front of the coming army without of course, getting too close to them.
Okay, so actually, Stephen pointed out that we also have to decide load. That is how much equipment you have with you. For those of you who have played Blades, in this game you get to choose individually which kind of load you have, but you have to choose what items you bring with you. So, yeah.
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna go ahead.
If you see on your sheet, there should be on the bottom right side. There is a section called load, and you can choose whether you want to go light, which will be quieter and faster. Good if you're going to try to sneak. There is a normal load, which is just like you'll have all the light items and some more. It's pretty much like the standard. So the load, you won't get any disadvantage or advantages because of that. And there's the heavy, which is pretty much like I'm going into war. You'll never be able to get away with trying to suggest that you're doing something else than being a soldier. And also you'll have a lot to carry if you're trying to sneak.
And then what do you miss if you're light?
You have less items, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna let you know that with a light load, you Raghav have a fine armor, a fine hand weapon, a fine ornate clock, and a flare gun. And with normal, you also get a luxury item and either a fine shield or pistol. And then with heavy, you also get fine heavy armor and a banner.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the explanation. Okay, I'm going to go for the normal one then.
Okay, and do you want the shield or pistol?
Hard choice. Let's
You
go for a
can
pistol.
also, for utility, get a less good shield because you also get 2 free load in addition to that.
Okay. Yeah, that would yeah, I think a pretty fine pistol and an okay-ish shield.
Okay.
Thanks.
Which load are you taking, Leandro?
I'm taking normal because that comes with a climbing kit. But just to list all the stuff I got, I have along with light, I have a fine compass and maps. I got a fine set of bow and arrows and black arrows, which gives me potency against the undead. And with normal, it comes with fine lenses, so I don't have to get close to watch them undead folk, and a fine reliquary, along with that climbing kit.
Cool. And you, Steven?
I'm going with normal since I get since normal counts as light for me.
Yes.
And that gives me some tonics, some med kit, a pistol, a fine pistol. And I want to check, what does Mark of the Healing God do? Because it's something I get.
For your normal, that's a good question.
There's a gear handout, I think it says there.
Oh, there. Holy symbol of mercy. Mark of the Healing God. Okay, I actually don't know.
Okay.
It's a symbol that's universally recognized as a medic's mark. That's good for like talking to villagers and strangers.
Okay.
Which won't have much to do here, but in the future.
Thanks, Leandro. And Horst, what load does Silver Dancing Wind carry?
Silver Dancing Wind takes the light load because he wants to sneak and climb. And it's essentially a long rifle, the sniper rifle, I hope.
Cool. So you're standing in front of this bridge, and Raghav, you're going to try to blow up the bridge. So your mission is to try to put the alchemical charges that you're carrying on the right spots to blow it up. Your squad of rookies are standing at ready looking very like confused at you to before you to give orders. I think I'm gonna have to give one of them a name at least. Let's see here. He's called. There it was. Adhikar. He looks up at you and is like, "Sir, should we? How are we supposed to set up these charges? I mean, the river is very high, and it's slippery and dark. What do you advise we do, Commander? No, Raghav."
So I take a deep breath and I'm like, stupid people. Okay, let's find a light source so that we know better what we want to do. I don't see well enough to be able to do anything here. Does anyone here have anything to light up the place?
I take out my flare gun, just kind of like wave it in your face.
Isn't that going to confuse people if we fire this?
We also have oil. I mean, I feel like I'll declare oil, which I feel like probably represents a light, since there isn't a light listed in the in any of the utility.
In the soldier's kit, there is a lamp.
In the
Oh,
what kit?
okay.
In the soldier's kit.
Oh, who has a soldier's kit?
All the rookies has.
Ah.
So I think like actually probably.
Probably it could be represented with supplies, right?
Yeah. But Adhikar, like the rookie you just talked to, he's like, oh yes, we brought lamps. And he like lights up a lamp and says, well, now what? And I think looks over at all of you. We have a lot of expertise here in how to do this. I don't know. We haven't gotten any instruction on how to blow up bridges.
Well, I feel like I'm going to try to do a setup action for someone else's action here. Does that make sense to you?
How does
Because
that
I
work?
think that basically I can use it to give. Well, I should actually see what if someone else is going to do something first.
Well, I think Silver Dancing Wind walks over to Raghav and says, "Sir, do you have the charges?"
You do.
I have.
No, I have or you have.
I think you have them, Raghav. You're the
Yeah, I have them. Yeah.
With your permission, sir, I would like to climb down the bridge and put the charges where they're supposed to be.
Do you think you can do this considering the high waters?
So with all due respect, we are at the war. Whether I die from a height or I die being torn apart by some kind of monster, I probably prefer the former.
Yeah, the reason I was asking was I was wondering if I should give you all the charges or just one.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't get that. I think it would take a long time if I had to put all the charges, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
there's no need to put the burden on Silver Dancing Wind. There's multiple bodies here, and I'll take some of those charges if you want.
Yeah, and I pull out some scrolls and diagrams from my sack, and they seem to be diagrams of the bridge, and I think I can find some spots on the bridge that the boy might be able to get to with relative ease.
Is this the setup action?
Yeah.
What attribute are you rolling here?
I'm rolling with research.
Yeah, I think that sounds like standard controlled. It's not any danger. So I'm gonna explain this for you, Parham, that doesn't know how this. I haven't played any
Yes.
Blades like game before.
Yeah,
So
no.
basically, how actions work in Blades is that there is two things you need to determine before you roll. The first thing is the position. So there is controlled, risky, and desperate. Those positions, they say something about how dangerous this thing is, and what kind of consequences I can invoke on you as a character or your character. So basically, if it's very dangerous and you jumping down from a tower trying to hit like a tiny trampoline or whatever 100 meters down, that would be desperate. Or controlled like this one, which is not dangerous because Vexing Phone is just doing research, right?
Okay, so that's one thing.
Yeah, and the second thing is effect, which says something about how much progress you're making doing this thing. So there's two types of instances here. Like in a lot of times, there's just standard effect, and you do something, and it's not a clock, it's not a big thing. So you just determine, okay, so if I'm gonna shoot this person, it's just this one thing that you're doing. So you don't have to think so much about the effect. But like this is a big project of setting up alchemical charges of all the bridge, the 10 clock. Basically, it says something about the efficiency of the action. So, for example, in this instance, with Vexing Thorn doing research, it's just standard effect. You do it, and you get this effect. Because it's just a simple action. But if
okay.
But if, for example, you would were to okay, I'm climbing down to set up the alchemical charges. With one charge, I would say, okay, this is probably a risky standard, and if you roll successful on that, you'll do 2 ticks. You could also.
Oh, go ahead.
If you would, for example, say, okay, no, I'm gonna take all the charges and put it on one place, I would say, okay, that might be have better effect, but it's more dangerous. So I would say, okay, maybe it's desperate, but you get a great effect, and then you do 3 ticks instead. Or 4
And then
ticks.
how does this translate into dice rolls? Like, what are you rolling, and
You're just always rolling with whatever skill you're using, and the risk and effect just determine what are like the fictional outcomes of that roll.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's a 2d6. So
No, you're making a dice pool.
Yeah.
What does that
chips,
mean?
Those dots, they represent one die, and you're making a dice pool for this roll, and you take the highest result, and you can get dice depending on whether on different actions. But normally, yeah, you're making a pool of d6s, and you want the highest result.
And there's different ways you can get more dice, but I think actually because now it seems like someone else is doing something before you. So we will just be very explicit on how we build the dice pools that isn't, and explain how it works.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Cool. So for the research roll, I think it's a controlled standard.
Yeah, and in this situation, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to give a horse character Dancing Wind a greater effect for them doing their more dangerous thing.
Yeah, and when you do a setup action, you can either do it for an extra effect or for a better position. So if what Horst was doing was very dangerous, you could also do a setup action to say, oh, it's less dangerous because I know where the structural weaknesses of whatever is or something. Or maybe there is a path where people used to climb down to fix stuff, or I don't know, something like that.
Okay, and that gets me a 4.
Okay, so
so now you rolled. Wait, what's your?
I rolled 2 dice, and I got a 1 and a 4.
So that gets it. Okay.
If you can also do actions even if you have no dots in them. It just means you'll roll 2 and keep the lowest.
Okay. Okay.
because these are all things soldiers should be able to do, even if we're not necessarily good at them.
Okay. And what about special abilities? Do they because they don't have dots in them? Or do
Oh,
they?
each playbook has their own special ability. Like for example, your
Yeah.
officer's channels, mine is scrounge. Those don't need to be rolled. They're just used, and each of them has like a special use. Like for example, my scrounge, if I use it, I can get supplies or a safe place for folks.
Okay. Okay. So you just say I'm gonna do scrounging, or
Yeah.
that means I'm gonna do scrounge. Okay.
You don't need to roll for those. They just do things.
Great. Thanks.
In this instance, because you rolled a mixed result, I think what happens is that you find this like place where it's a structural weakness. It's in the middle of the bridge where the water is highest, so it's also gonna be more dangerous to go down there, I think. So basically putting whoever's doing it in a worse position. So how do you communicate this to this what you find out to Silver Dancing Wind?
Yeah, I take a bit of charcoal and I kind of do an X through this location on the bridge. I look to Dancing Wind and say, "Do you think you can get down there, boy?"
I think so. Thanks, Thorn.
Yeah, and you see like the water roaring through, and there's all like this kind of like driftwood in the river because of things that has probably from like houses, or I don't know, it's trees and broken branches and stuff like that. But you see like there is like this glistening stone that you have to climb down in, and there is definitely like some grip there. But if you fall down there, it's definitely gonna be not very good for you. What do you do?
Try not to die, boy. You're one of the few people here that doesn't annoy me.
I can't say the same about you, though. And
call me Thorn for a reason.
And I leave the. Is it still raining?
Yes, it is still raining. It's not like a heavy rain, but it's still like drizzling.
So I imagine that Silver Dancing Wind has somehow wrapped his the gun in some kind of maybe oiled I don't know, canvas or something. And he do we have a wagon, or he otherwise puts it on his horse, takes the charges, and then carefully climbs down this treacherous, slippy stone.
And also the thing about this game is that you always choose which attributes you use. I will just say if it's one that is not very nice or very good for this thing, I will just adjust the position and effect. So which attribute do you use?
I would say maneuver seems appropriate.
Yeah. So here you start at desperate and greater effect because it's very dangerous. So you have a climbing kit, right?
I don't.
You don't?
Do
you want to push for effect?
Can I get a Devil's Bargain? Is that a thing?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's for a die, though, right?
It is.
I can also help, but I don't know if it's retroactive or I need to declare it beforehand with my channel.
You can offer one stress to do. You can take on one stress to say some way that you're helping.
I think I also have the special ability for the what's it called?
The channel.
Yeah, the logistics support.
So if you
But-
want to have a fine climbing kit, you definitely could have.
Yeah, but
Well,
I mean,
that's just when they do this, they get an additional +1d.
yeah.
Okay.
I'd love a +D.
And then does this have to be like? Did I have to declare this before he started climbing down, or is it
No,
okay
this
now?
is effectively like you're just really good at foreseeing what the group will need.
Oh, yeah.
So retroactively, they're like, yeah, I knew this would be useful.
Hey, I knew you wouldn't know how to. You wouldn't have the kit to go down. There you go.
Yeah, so that's you've done what the
Okay.
mood tells you to do. Tell us how your preparations, your supplies help them against the obstacle.
Yeah. Let's have like a small flashback to when you do this. Like, how did you think about this? That you needed this fine climbing kit, and who did you go to get it? Is it with a quartermaster, perhaps?
I knew that there is going to be a lot of climbing down because we had to either set these explosive charges under the bridge itself, like just attach them to the actual bridge, or attach them to the what's it called? To the pillars holding it up, if that's the right word. So I suspected that there is going to be a lot of climbing. So it was pretty easy to go and ask I think the quartermaster is a pretty good idea, and ask them if they had any spare climbing kits available.
Yeah, for this important mission, of course, they were like, sure, and I think like they ask you, but I mean, how do you even know that he won't bring his own climbing kit?
I mean, there is a lot of people. Probably one of them is going to forget theirs. It's always good to have backups of things.
He shakes his head and says, well, your method of like assuming that they will forget and taking the equipment with you instead of reminding them to do it, is actually pretty effective.
Yeah, people are stupid. They forget things. You can't really foresee that.
Cool, and I think that's like the flashback. And you see, how do you like give this climbing kit?
So when he says that he's going to go down and do it, and after what's the name? After Thorn, I think that's the last name. She gives him the map to help him. I just say, oh, by the way, do you have your climbing kit with you as you're going down?
So no, I apologize. I forgot my gear.
I smile, like remembering the quartermaster and what we were talking about, and then I'm like, well, fortunately, I remembered to pick one for you extra. So there we go.
Well, so we can't all be officers, I guess. Thank you.
So this is gives you potency, so you get another level of effect. So you're now at desperate.
It doesn't give him potency. It's basically like the spiders like preparation from Blades in the Dark. It just gives the +1d.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because this isn't like a fine like climbing kit. It's just one that he can use.
Okay. Sure. So you get an extra die, and then if you want, well, you can't actually do that because you're already desperate. But you could possibly, if you were not in a desperate situation, you could also trade position for effect. So if it was a risky move you did, you could also say, okay, well, let's make it desperate. Let's make it more daring for some more effect. But you're already desperate, so you can't do that.
Well, sucks to be me.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't pushed yourself yet. You could still
Yeah.
push yourself for something else.
That's what I'm getting to now. So now you can either you can take one extra die to push yourself for 2 stress, or I could offer you a devil's bargain, but I don't.
Well, somebody could offer me a devil's bargain, maybe. I could offer me a devil's bargain. Is that possible?
I mean, sure.
What if I'm so stupid that I actually lose the climbing gear? Or is that not enough for an extra die?
I mean, I don't think like it's not really a thing that would matter if you lose, because you just get all it does is give you the +1d for this roll.
Well, but fictionally, the climbing gear would be gone. I mean, maybe it's not a terrible consequence.
But you could definitely lose some of your gear, possibly. That is as a thing down there. If you wanted to, let's see, what kind of things would be a thing that you could lose here.
So I took the light load, and I actually said that my the long, what is it called? The long gun is on my horse.
You do get 2 utility, so you see those list of items. You get 2 of those.
Oh yeah, and I do have to pick them now, don't I?
Yeah. I think I don't have any Devil's Bargain at you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe does your black shot get ruined by the water?
You have
That's
one
definitely a
less.
thing you could do.
Hmm.
You have 1 less black shot.
Still have the regular ammo. You just don't have that really nice black shot.
I think I push myself.
Cool. So you put two stress.
Yes. Hold on. How do I do that? Roll 20.
Also, you have 3 less stress than usual in this game compared to Blades.
Yes.
Oh wow,
But
that
also,
is
you don't
horrible.
you don't get over when you fill the track. It's the one that is extra that will push you over. So it's just, I mean, it's still less, but
Yeah, I marked the stress, and now I roll the. I said maneuver, didn't I? And do I just click maneuver and then it rolls?
yes.
Yeah, we'll ask you to fill out the info on the roll, but yeah.
Does someone want to assist?
That's what Parham did.
Yeah, but that's with the. Okay, yeah, sure, but okay, yeah, cool.
Because it's specifically channels can be spent to assist a squad mate. It was an assist, like it's it's basically this game's version of the spider move.
Okay, yeah.
And also, sorry, where are we tracking my channels? Do we have such a thing? Because it's
I'm
just
tracking
channels. Oh, okay. So how many do I have? Just
You still have 1 left.
Okay. And how do I recover channels?
Just between missions.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
So now you can roll. You have 2 extra dice.
Nice.
That's a 6.
Yes.
Cool. The water is roaring and the bridge is very slippery, and you're climbing with this like alchemical charge, like wrapped or around your back, but you still do it. Like, describe to me how you do it.
Well, so we see Silver Dancing Wind carefully climbing down the wet stone, and then at some point he embraces the scaffolding, I guess, the logs, and he reaches into the backpack where the charges are, and he feels his fingers slipping, because obviously also the logs are all wet. And there's this like icy cold feeling, the sunken feeling when you have when you think he would fall, but he doesn't. Steals himself and places the first charge on, like where the logs cross, I guess, on the place where Vexing Thorn pointed out to him.
Yeah, and you climb back up. Probably still a little wet from the river, like roaring below you. But the charge sticks, and you have filled 3 segments of the clock because it was great effect. And you can mark 1 XP that you mark on the on your prowess thing there. Cool. So you see You see Silver Dancing Wind coming up. What do the rest of you do?
I think Alika is gonna like theatrically pull out her climbing kit and just kind of like saunter to the other side of the if Silver Dancing Wind on one side, like it's gonna go on the other side and be like, yeah, I didn't need to be mothered by our officer. I have my own climbing kit. Yeah. And she's she'll do her job and place those charges. This is also a maneuver, I assume.
Yeah. You start at risky standard, I think, because you go on a spot that is closer to the not so in the middle of the river, and the water is a little bit calmer. You could still probably at least you would maybe go a bit down the river, but you wouldn't immediately get dragged under if you fall down here.
All right. So yeah, maneuver got 2. I'm expecting things to explode at some point. I think I'll just keep. I'll just roll.
You want to push for effect?
Actually, you know what? Yeah. The sooner we get this, then I'll push for effect.
That's 2 stress.
So that's risky. Great. Risky. Great.
Is someone doing a setup action for this? That's for, you could also do another level if you want.
Could I point out like problems in the climbing procedure? Would that help?
That's probably an assist, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can mark you mark 1 stress for the assist, and you get an extra die.
Yay!
So before let's see what before Jesus, what's your name? Alikayevna.
Just call her Alika.
Yeah, I see Alika moving to the other side and said, Alika, can I have a second?
All right. What's up?
Nice gear, nice climbing gear.
Thanks. I made sure to have him, and I think she twirls a grappling hook. That she twirls a grappling one hand, and the other hand she's wrapping it around her waist, or wrapping something. I don't know how climbing kit works.
Well, I forgot mine, but anyways, just be careful with the logs. They're super wet. You can position yourself if you keep climbing from the cross section to cross section. I should have done that.
Well, you didn't do it, and yet you're still here in one piece, and we're getting the mission going.
Just barely.
Well, I think I kind of like clap you in the shoulder, just like, well, barely counts for a lot. These are still here.
Yeah, you see him flinching a little bit when you touch him, but he tries to not show it.
I think it just kind of smiles. You can't tell if she saw that or not. Yeah, I'll follow your advice, and claps you in the shoulder again.
Okay, so how do I assist? Just the stress, 1 stress.
1 stress, yes.
Okay.
And now you roll.
All right, so yeah, that's 1 extra die.
And you have great effect.
Hell yeah, that's another 6.
Well, you're doing really great here. Cool. So, how? I mean, you are probably a seasoned climber, right?
Yeah. I think my family wandered through a lot of mountains. The Zemyati are mostly nomadic clans up in the mountains, so very well used to that sort of thing.
How does this show in how you traverse under this bridge?
Yeah, I think it's the start is kind of showy because I throw the grappling hook and just whoosh and get it in one go, but there's a professionalism in that. Make sure it's tight, make sure feet's planted, and then when she kind of like swings to the rafter, she makes sure like logs are wet so that her grip on the rope is tight, and her footing is sure. And it's like, we're in a hurry, we're kind of in a hurry, but it's a slow. It's you got to be slow and steady with these sort of things, especially when it's raining. Like, and I think there's a part of it that's been like, I've been through downpours and avalanches. The bridge is fine, but yeah, it's a measured and calm sort of like performance, getting those charges
Mm-hmm.
and then getting back.
Yeah, and you get up and yeah. What do you do, Raghav? You see like the rookies there. They have probably been like dragging the cart with the alchemical charges out on the bridge, and they're like putting them where they're supposed to go down. So how? I mean, you're not as good in maneuver, so you don't have to climb down. But what you also can do is to do a group action, commanding the rookies to do it.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking with Marshall, I think. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could be guiding the rookies to place them in the right spots. So yeah.
Cool. So how group action works is that you basically uh, you will roll an action and they will also roll for something. But I think actually this is just command. I don't think this is a group action if you just do it with these two or with the group. But you can command them to do it. So it will function just like as the other roles are, but you will use command instead. So
so command is also another thing.
Oh, Marshall, I get. Sorry, I mixed the two because I think it was command and blades.
Okay, yeah. So Marshall is the one where I try to get a group to do something or to coordinate fire on someone and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes sense.
How do you do it?
So at this point, it's mostly like zooming out to see like where the explosives are being placed, stepping in and saying, "Hey, if you like, don't put it too close to the edge, put it more toward the center." When someone is putting it in the wrong place, mostly kind of looking at it as chess pieces where I'm trying to make sure everything is put at the right place. I'm not really sure if mechanically it's possible. Mechanically, I'm not really looking for any um, uh, effects from this, but mostly I think Thorne's map when she handed that to what's the names? So many names.
I think vexing Thorn is male, by the way.
Yeah, I'm he, him.
Oh, sorry. I got those mixed up. Thanks. So when Thorn was passing them to Silver Dancing Wind, I got a peek on, not sure if I can say this, so let me know. I got a peek on like the general layout of it, so I have an idea of, okay, so if the base is like this, we need to put the charges here and there.
I have another use of it, so maybe I can also just hand off the diagram to you.
I mean, can I just, because I don't know if that would be using your support for someone else as myself. I don't know if I can, like, how does that work in the mechanics of the game?
Yeah, I think it would just be the assist instead of the setup action because you already kind of did it, right?
Yeah, I can assist.
Mm-hmm. So this is also, I think, risky standard effect. They are, I mean, it's climbing and you're doing the less difficult ones.
And your logistical support is specifically to assist a squad mate, not to assist yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but I meant more like using your diagrams to place the charges in the right place.
Yeah.
So that would be you assisting.
Another die.
Yeah.
So that gives you an extra die. You can also, if you want, try to make them put it on the more less safe places for more effect, but a riskier position.
And then how would that affect my die?
You will get more effect. So now we have 6 pies of the clock for 10. So instead of getting two slices if you succeed,
Yeah.
you'll get 3.
Okay. So if I push, if I push for more effect, I would mark 1 stress, I guess. Or
Yeah, you
does
can
it-
also do that.
Yeah, you would mark 2. When you help when you push yourself, you mark 2. When you help someone else, you mark 1.
And when I want to get more effect, what do I do?
You can push for effect as well.
Oh, so it's the same thing. Okay, so
Yeah, but
I
then it's still risky. What I think you also can do in any move is that you can change position for effect. So this is a default a risky standard roll.
yeah.
Because they are also in the same way that Silver Dancing Wind, no, not Silver Dancing Wind, they were doing it in a very dangerous place. But I mean, as Alika Nieva,
Yeah.
doing it in a less dangerous place. So you can also say, so it's a risky position. So you can also say, okay, well, I want a desperate position, but with great effect instead of a risky standard. If you want.
Okay, I'm going for the risky standard because
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Kill the rookies.
Yeah.
And are you pushing yourself for anything?
Yeah, for effect.
No.
No?
For effect, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll mark 2 stress for you then.
So does this count as leading a group of people to do something? That's the special ability that I mark 1 less stress.
No. You would have to
Okay.
be with other characters as well, I think. I don't think this is
Yeah.
qualifies.
Rookies don't count. So sad. Okay, so I'm rolling 3d6 at this point, right?
Yep. Is anyone assisting?
What?
And then it's for great
Yes.
effect,
Yes,
right?
you already got the dice for assist, right?
Yeah, I already assisted. Yeah.
For great effect, yes.
So okay, so 3 dice.
Okay, I got 6.
Oh.
Oh,
For some reason it gave me. Oh, I accidentally hit. Sorry, let me re-roll that. I
I
accidentally hit. I gave 3 bonus dice.
I rolled that here and I got 665.
Okay, sure.
So
Yeah.
but you can also do the rolling later.
No, it's fun for you to roll it, so we'll go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So I think you see like the in this like TV series you see where only one of the rookies have gotten a name yet. You see Adhikar like running with his like charge. Like how do you command actually? Like show me how you command them.
It's mostly short, terse sentences because he is more into like go ahead already and get things done kind of styling. So style of command. So he's more like, not there, move a bit to the right. Like I don't know, whoever pull a bit back. Oh no, you're not supposed to put them there. No, that's a bit too much. So like very terse, short sentences with like verse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you see like the rookies running around with the charges, like climbing down and putting them up. Yes, you only have and they all come up like sweating, and you gather again at the like cart you've been dragging, and you see like the cart is empty. There is no more charges. And the bridge is ready to blow up. You haven't failed yet, which is well. So yeah, what
It's
do
a
you do?
great first session.
Yeah.
So one question is the does the army that is closing by, like, do they also have a clock? How is that, like, how much time do we have?
Yeah, I'm. You know what I would have probably done if you would have failed at anything.
Yeah.
is like make a clock for when they arrive, or when troops arrive or something. But you haven't failed, so
Okay. Yeah, I'm just asking for later because we will fail at some point.
yeah. Well, we'll see. You seem to be very good at role playing thus far.
Role playing, like ROLL.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. So the charges are ready to blow. Who is doing the wrecking, or or whatever you're doing?
Does anyone else have rec? Because if not, I can certainly try. Give it a go.
I don't.
I have one.
Okay, I guess I'll give it a go since you've already taken on the risk for the group. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess I'll acquit this, declare this oil, and
Wait,
Thorn-
what is declaring
Thorn whips-
oil?
what?
What is declaring oil? What
Oh,
is
you also have some extra utility stuff you can declare in addition to your like base loadout.
Okay. Okay, so you have oil as one of your extra stuff.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I think probably Thorn has whipped up basically a kind of Molotov cocktail of like an oil flask. And once everyone seems to be clear of the bridge, he sort of gives it a fling onto the bridge to try to ignite it.
Yeah. I actually, I believe actually this is controlled. It makes my heart hurt, but I think actually it is controlled standard.
I mean, I'm blowing up a bridge. I feel like there's some risk to me.
Yeah. What if we didn't set the charges right? Well, we did get 6s, I guess.
Yeah, but you're all off the bridge, right? I mean, sure. If you want it risky, I'll tell me how this might affect you in a bad way.
I mean, I'm still throwing it onto the bridge. Like, there's certainly the chance that I'll be caught by shrapnel, or that the opposing army will show up. Like, I feel like even though you've been pretty generous with the controls, like there is the fact that there's an army marching on us that should generally present a risky situation here.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I don't have the time to like just I don't have the time to be real careful with things here.
Cool. I think you actually what this is that you see that there is some movement on the other side of the bridge coming towards you. So like it needs to blow up quick, and it's not like a very controlled device you're throwing here.
Yeah. I'm gonna give myself 2 stress to push myself for an extra die because I only have 1.
Is anyone helping?
I think just for the sake of like blowing this up before even the army arrives, I'm going to try and use my channels by saying that I've got something to help in the situation.
What is this?
But I'm trying to figure out what that would be.
Have you maybe like worked it out with a scouting party to like harry the opposing army while we did this?
Yeah, that could work, but I'm not really sure how that would help you in the action of throwing.
It like buys us time so that we're not being rushed here, maybe.
And then that puts you back at controlled? Like...
No, just give me an extra die. When you aid someone, it just gives them an extra die.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Mikhail?
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, but if you have your own idea, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out, like in my head, how this applies to the fiction. Okay, so I buy you more time, you have more time to work on the oil, or I buy you more time, you have more time to think about like throwing this right. I have like how does this apply to what you're doing right now?
I think perhaps it sounds, for me at least, it sounds more like the first one. That you buy time so that they can do the throwing, like the mechanism of the fire thing.
The oil thingy that. That he declared. Okay. Okay. Now I can role play that a bit. Like I have content for the flashback thing. Okay.
So, how do you set this up? Who are you talking to get this done?
So I'm sending some of my rookies, because as far as I know, this doesn't really require a high level of ability. And so the directive I give them is just, stay in the forest, stay out of sight, just shoot from a distance, and try to buy us time by confusing them and getting them all over the place, so that they have to figure out a way to get through, and try not to get hurt. As soon as you feel like they're advancing on your position, run back. The point is to delay them as much as possible, not to get a victory.
Yeah, and I think since we only have one named rookie, I think this is Adhikar, and I think he says, well, I mean, that sounds a little bit dangerous, but if you think this is the best idea, then, well, I guess... So I'm supposed to keep to the forest.
Yeah, so just keep them confused, keep throwing random shots at them from different directions. As they're running around trying to figure out who is shooting at them and what's happening, someone here will probably have more time to come up with a way to help us blow up the bridge faster. Otherwise, they're going to arrive before we have the chance to do anything.
And how do I get over the bridge again? And I think we can just actually cut there, because I think what is at stake in this role is definitely the life
That they
of
won't
Adhikar.
make it before this.
That's what's on the line. Cool. So you can roll.
Oh no, that is a 3.
So what's a failed roll? Is that...
That is a 3 or below.
Oh, I've got my question answered. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think you probably hear like it stops. The shooting from the other side stops, and I think also like as the how does this thing look that you're throwing?
Like I said, it's basically like an oil flask that I've dummied up into like a Molotov cocktail. So there's like a burning rag sticking out of one end.
Yeah, and you like throw it, and there, I imagine there's like this trail of these alchemicals that was supposed to like light on fire as this hits the bridge, and I think like you see the there's some undead running over. And as you throw and it hits the bottom, you see like the alchemicals are burning. They are not burning very fast, and I think that like it will still explode in time. I think, but these will the undead, they are definitely going to be able to pass there before it blows up.
What happened to the rookie?
I mean, you don't hear any sound from the shooting on the other side of the bridge, so who knows? I think you can cross off. He dies over there, I think.
No, I'm not going to let that pass. Not going to let that pass.
So
I'm a doctor. I save lives.
Yeah, so you resist that.
Yeah, I think I basically like start. Basically just draw my pistol and start firing into the undead to draw them onto the bridge, away from the rookie.
That sounds like a prowess resist, maybe, or is that what you're angling for?
Yeah, it's definitely prowess.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 5, so I just mark 1 stress.
1 stress, yeah. So Param, that's how that works. So like if you see on Vexing Thorn's character's sheet, there is 3 rank 1 on prowess, which means that there is you can roll 3 dice to resist on prowess rolls, And when I say some bullshit like, "Oh yes, the rookie get killed," Steven says, "Oh no, you're not," and then just resist that, and then roll with in this case the prowess, because they Steven described in a like a physical manner what they were doing. So that,
And how many times
You're
can you
welcome,
resist?
Ragav. I've saved the rookie from your poor decision.
yes, exactly.
You can resist
And-
any time, and what happens is you're gonna take 6 stress minus the highest of all the dice you roll.
Yeah. So Steven rolled a 5, so it takes 1 stress.
Okay. So it depends on how much stress you have.
Yeah, and you can also go over and get a trauma. You'll still survive, but it will have some consequences. You will trauma out for that moment and not be able to use it for the rest of the session. But if it's a specialist, they'll still survive.
Okay.
They will just have some trauma, which could be like cold, or I don't remember all the one in the on the list, but I think it says
Not
in the character
important
sheet.
right now.
Yeah. So yeah, you describe what you're doing. You're like shooting to distract them.
Yeah.
And you see
Ghost.
yeah, you see the undead troops on the other side. They are running more towards you, and I think as you you and your whole troop, you're getting attacked by this group of undeads. I'm just gonna find them here real quick to see how they look. Describe them a little bit. These are Render's troops, and I think you see there is they look like people, but there's all these. It's like I described before. Like they are all covered up in different kind of metal sheets and stuff like that. Mostly like nailed to their body. They are definitely like dead. You see the flesh of their bodies like rotting, but it looks like very dry, like their blood has been drained. And I think like in front of them you see one that is looking a bit different from the other, which is a thorn, like a kind of troop that is a render made by killing troops with metal blades treated with cinder blood. So they're basically like spiked clubs in zombie form, with like blades coming out of them, running towards you. What do you do? And in the background, you see like this fire slowly going to the chemical charges.
Where's the rookie?
Probably hidden in the forest. Or what do you imagine that he's running over?
Yeah, like
Yeah, could be. Sure. Let's have him
Yeah.
like run in front of them, and you see like these people coming, and he's like running. Get behind me!
So Silver Dancing Wind would like to get to like a maybe somehow elevated position, take out his gun, and provide covering fire.
Mm-hmm. There's like 6 of them plus this thorn.
He's definitely aiming for the thorn,
Mm-hmm.
not our thorn, although he's thinking about it.
Cool. You're using shoot.
Well, funny you would ask. I have the aim ability that I can use a couple of times per session, I think. Let's see. I've got it here somewhere. It says it's my special ability, special action. Aim is an action that snipers specialize and train in. Unlike most action, it's not rolled, but its rating determines its user's permission. Oh, so I get 1 use then, I guess. and I would like to use it right now.
What did it do?
What does it do? Let's see. While on a mission, you may spend aim uses to increase the effect level of a shot. This means you can sometimes take out large, dangerous enemies with a single bullet.
Cool. So I think, I mean, you are, you have a, what kind of weapon do you have?
Let me just check it. It is a fine long rifle.
I think at this point you're risky, but I think actually maybe even desperate. This thing is running into your troops, and I think the rook is in front, like trying to get all the stuff off the bridge and take try to get our friend Adekar off the bridge before it blows up. But okay, so this is, I think this the threat level of the thorn is a 2, but you are also, you have fine weapons, right? So you're also 2. So I think that if you want, you can also try to take the whole group.
I would very much like that.
Because
Yes,
it's a
go.
great effect here.
Yeah. So
I don't have any more channels to lend you. I'm sorry.
okay.
Stress to assist.
Yeah, anyone want to assist?
Yeah, I'll assist. I think what I'll do is I take out my fine lenses and I'm kind of like, I'm acting like as a spotter, being like, Thorn's neck over there, bulging, lots of pressure. Oh, I want to think about what's inside there. Maybe we should kill it. Yeah. In between all that, she's Alakazil says something useful. Take 1 stress.
Cool. And if I think if you fail here, I think this is, yeah, this is desperate. Like I think all the at least 3 of the rookies will be lethally harmed.
All right. So aim. I have a bonus die, I guess.
Aim gets you extra effect. That's what allows you to take on the whole group instead of just the thorn. But you get a bonus die for the assist.
Yeah, that was I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then oops. Oh, I didn't. What?
So a 5.
Is it okay? Yeah, nice.
So you do it. How do you shoot all these the 7? I think. Yeah, you do it. Like, how do you shoot these for this actually 7 undeads and hinder them to get over?
Yeah, it's so he tries to keep a little bit of distance to Alika, and you see that it's very like controlled. I don't know, like almost mechanical movements, removing the spent case, putting in another case, listening. Obviously, as his head is tilted a little bit, listening to what Alika is saying, and yeah, it is a very controlled. Although he is stressed out, like to the max, you probably can't really see it because it's just practice over and over again.
So it's just like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah,
bang.
exactly. In exactly timed, like there's, if you would stop the time, it's exactly the same. What's it called? Like rhythm.
Awesome. Cool. So you see the undead like fall down, and you see like the flames go under finally, and there's like this big explosion, and what the consequence here of your limited effect is that is that all these undead's bodies like debris like rain over you, and you all get 1 corruption from getting in contact with this horrible, because the troops of Render, they are infused with the blood of the Cinder King, so very potent.
And
So
then
by
what
you all,
does
is that all 4, or what do you mean by you all?
I think actually let's make it all 4 of you.
Okay, just checking.
and then corruption 1? Do you see that in the fiction, or do you see that in any way, or and it's okay until it reaches its maximum? I don't know what the maximum is.
Yeah, once it maxes out, you'll mutate in some way, basically.
And then what's the maximum? Is it 5? or
6.
6? Okay.
So you all can record 1 corruption if you don't want to resist it.
I brought a reliquary. I'm using one of it. I'm using one of its uses.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to resist this because I think growing up as a Panya, I think that there's a certain connection, I assume, to nature, and everything that would sever that connection or somehow taint it is probably a horrible thought for him.
Cool. You can roll to resist. How do you resist? I think probably by default this is resolve.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, exactly. I would say so. Like it's probably, I don't know, like the remembering somehow the tranquility of, or the purity of nature. And I can just press resolve. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Get no bonus dice, I guess.
No.
Okay. Ooh, wow, it's
0
a 6.
stress.
Jeez, I can reduce 1 stress, isn't it?
No, it's when you crit. If you got 2 6s, then you.
Oh, okay. I was too greedy.
Yeah. Well, and with the reliquary, it says here, spend to reduce corruption taken by 1.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
So I think you just do it. Like if you had more corruption, you could also get plus
Yeah, I
1
have to
to
roll.
resist it, but I don't think that's applicable here.
Yeah, although this is a fine one, so I could have reduced by 2, but I'm not going to be here, so I'm just going to use it right now.
Yeah.
I'll be here next week. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not gone forever or anything. It's still part of the kit.
I have just the 2 stress, and I think I'm going to need them, so I'm not going to resist it for the moment.
Cool. So you can record 1 corruption. What about Raghav?
Yeah, I'm also not going to resist it.
Yeah. Cool. We might see how that looks in camp, perhaps, because we don't really know what happens if you just get 1 corruption. Who knows? Maybe. Cool, but the mission is over, and you see the bridge is collapsed, and you get to you go back to the catch up with the rest of the Legion easily enough. I mean, the Legion is a big group, so they don't move that fast. That's the first mission. Congratulations, you did it very efficiently.
Thank you.
Yay.
So
Do we get some sort of reward from the Legion as recognition of how awesome we were?
yes. You'll get some recognition in terms of XP here probably. But first, now we go into like the second part of the game, which is the campaign phase. you'll all have some new campaign phase roles. They are also described in the sheet here, I believe. But the roles they are the commander, the who decides what missions the Legion does. It's the marshal who keeps track of the Legion's people. So basically, there is a sheet of the names and amount of people that the Legion has at any time. When people get killed, the Legion has less people, which affects the game. If you have under a certain amount of people in the Legion, then the game is lost and you lose against the Cinder King. And then there's the quartermaster who keeps track of supplies, and so food and horses and such is a bookkeeping role. Of course, there's just 2 people who will continue to have these roles in this game right now. So I guess I'll give it to you first. I think for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to say Parham probably the easiest role to, in terms of not having to look too much at the character sheets and that kind of thing, is probably the commander. But feel free to take anyone you want.
Are you playing your own father? Is that who the commander is?
I mean, why not? This is getting weird enough anyway for this. And then what was the commander again? I got lost in all the role definitions.
They decide what missions will go on.
Okay. Okay, let's go for this. This is purely creative.
Yeah. And which one do you want, Stephen?
So you said you'd prefer I take one of the required ones since I'm going to be here for most of the sessions?
I mean, honestly, it's not that important for me. Take whichever you want. But I just, I thought it was appropriate to give you the choice first since you'll have it for more sessions.
Okay. I'll go with Lore Keeper.
Cool.
Sorry, the what keeper?
Lore Keeper.
What is that, like some sort of historian? What is
Yeah,
that?
basically they keep the annals of the annals of the of the Legion.
Okay, and then how does that show it? Oh, okay. I guess I'll see that next session.
You will actually see it a little bit now.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how far we come. So that leaves the 2 of you, Horst and Leandro, with the quartermaster and the marshal. So basically, for this session, it doesn't really matter that much because you're just going to record a few things. The quartermaster might start with making the clockwork tank, though. But probably the quartermaster who is going to go in the next session is going to be very happy about that.
Leandro, you can't be from being the quartermaster then. Or fight me.
They'll just be like, now what the fuck did my predecessor waste all these
What do I do with all these wheels and gears?
Why do we have so many clocks?
I'm just joking, Leandro. You can pick whatever you want. Obviously.
No, I was looking at Marshall actually because because that has the least I have to record. So
Yeah, that is right. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is to record the consequences of... Okay, so actually you should all also see now in the journal slot there that there's some officers. There's the commander, marshal, quartermaster, and lore keeper sheet, which they now made, which is super great, so we don't have to record everything manually. Do you all see them?
Yeah, I can see that.
See what? Sorry.
There is also some character sheets for the commander here.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, I can just record whatever for you now if you want to, but
Yeah, thanks. Then I can just go through that between sessions.
yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Cool. So let's see. I just have to. There is also disadvantages to having a book, and that's that I don't have enough bookmarks in my life. So let's see. Here is there. Shreya 165. I did have it open there, so why am I? What am I even doing? Okay, so
Where am I?
yeah, this is where we are. So commander, you on your sheet there is you have the responsible for recording pressure and time. So basically, there is the pressure says something about under how much pressure the legion is. That has consequences when you advance. If there's a lot of pressure, you might use more time, which is a precious resource because if you don't get to Skydagger Keep in time, you lose the game. And for this successful mission, so if successful, the undead won't be mounting a solid offensive against your camp and troops on the road anytime soon. Pressure starts at 0. So there's no pressure. So that's good.
So, okay, so as pressure goes up, we start losing more time.
When you advance. So you see now, I have put on the map, you're in the western front now.
Okay.
Before this session ends, you'll advance to Plainsword. You have to do that in the first session.
Okay.
And then you will roll to roll the to advance. You roll pressure to see how much time you use.
Okay.
And it adds like plus on the dice for the amount of pressure you have.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So and for initial time, if successful, the enemy is cut off. You bought yourself more time to make it to Skydagger Keep. Start with 2 ticks on the time clock. Otherwise, so you have 2 ticks on the time clock. There is 3 clocks of 10. I'm gonna put them also on the map next time, so it's visible for everyone. And when the first clock is filled, the summer ends. And then on the third one is the fall, and then there's the winter. When all of them are filled, then the time is up, pretty much. And then you better be at Skydagger Keep.
Okay, so that's 2 ticks on the first one now.
Yes, exactly. And for intel, you don't have the Legion had no chance to do recon, so you start with 0 intel.
Okay.
So, Marshall. If successful, the troops will feel reassured that they have sufficient time to set up a fortified camp across the river. Starting morale is 8 minus 1 per death that occurred on the mission, so 0 for you.
Yay.
So you don't mind I start noting down all the soldiers we have on this sheet?
I don't mind at all. And
we only have 1 rookie?
Well,
no, we have 1 named rookie.
Okay.
That's one. We have 1 rookie with the sheet. All the squads have 6 rookies in them.
Okay, right. I'll just put the 1 name down then.
Yeah.
and 5 more, I guess.
Oh yeah, I've got the specialist down.
No, but I mean 5 more rookies per squad, right? So 6 squads, 1 of them with the character sheet. That makes them.
Yeah. Quartermaster. The initial supply. So most Legion supplies were left behind. You start with 2 supply.
Okay.
Material. In your haste to make it to the Western Front, you have not been able to scavenge any additional resources.
What? Okay.
And the Lore Keeper, you have initial setups to perform, but you don't require the GM to answer any questions. Okay, so what you also do is if you see on your sheets, here there is some choices to make for heritage, reputation, personality, and look. So basically, like making a character. You don't have to make a name for this. They will be referred to as commander, quartermaster, and yeah, whatever their title is. So the rest of you can go through choosing the things. If you want, Param, we can go through them together.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So which heritage is the commander from? Is it Barton, Oret, Semiati, Panyar, or something else?
I think that they did the same here because it's
Yeah, you're Barton, right?
yeah, I think so. I didn't select anything, so it's probably the default chosen one.
Yeah. It is the Barton you are. So what is their reputation? Is it fierce, devious, unstoppable, proud, or inspiring?
I guess inspiring mostly because that's what allows him to be listened to most of the time as he pushes his son forward.
Cool. So you're kind of like that's nice. I like that. And he's also like that with the rest of the troops.
Yeah. So like he helps everyone grow, his son included. Um, so it's mostly like using everyone's strengths and pushing them forward in the ranks, because the more capable people you have and you put them in the right places, then the more powerful your whole legion becomes.
Very awesome. And what personality? You can choose two here. So is he bold, cold, calculating, stoic, or prideful?
I think I'll go for calculating and prideful.
Funny, since his son is stoic. It's cool. So for look, you can choose 1 to 3. So whatever you want. Here's athletic, scarred, well kempt. I don't even know what it is, but Illagard or lithe.
Okay, I'm going to go for welcomed. What's the last one?
Lithe, it says. I don't even know what it is.
It's like lean and flexible, like
and then
graceful.
I'll go for light then.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's light. He's should we go for bold?
No, you don't have to choose another one either. You can.
Let's go for bold.
Bold?
This is how
Okay. That's not a choice, but it can definitely be that. So I'm just gonna write it down.
Oh, sorry. So I misheard your second option.
Okay. Well, I mean that's also I think it could be if he's sickened. No, scarred is the haggard, scarred, or athletic are the last ones.
Scarred. Okay.
Scarred.
Yeah, let's go for scarred.
Cool. So now I guess we already have presented the commander somewhat, who he is. How are you? How is the rest of you doing?
I've mostly written out. I've mostly just given my character traits. You want me to go over them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did give them a name because I wrote in a name before. You said you don't need to put in a name. But yeah, I went with Other for his heritage, but I actually kind of like the idea just because I was reading through the heritages before the game. He is from Dar, and he's begun to exhibit the symptoms of Dar who leave their homeland, and that he's begun to sporadically bleed from the mouth occasionally. He is pale. He has pale, blonde, kind of ash blonde hair and pale grayish skin. He's very dedicated because he's remained in the position even though he should be returning to Dar. He is eloquent, or actually, I'm using he, but I went with they, them for their gender. And soft and ink stained for their look.
Cool.
So what happens to Dar when they leave their house and their home and don't return?
The lands of Dar are cursed, and anyone who leaves the lands for more than a year begin to bleed spontaneously. And usually it won't stop until they either die or return to their homeland.
Oh, so the bleeding won't stop, or the spontaneity of it? Like
bleeding.
Oh. Okay. Ow.
And how is our quartermaster and
So the quartermaster is from Barton, and I just read out what I've put down. Maybe my not the predecessor. What's the other word? The person coming after me will flesh it out.
Yeah.
Flesh them out. So I've picked Barton, frugal as the reputation, kind as the personality, and the looks are stylish, opulent, and colorful. I like a little bit of color for my quartermaster.
I mean, where else would the clockwork tank come from?
Exactly.
So this quartermaster just wears whatever they have for other people instead of passing it down to them. That's how they get colorful.
Maybe, I don't know. We might find out the next time.
Also, a whole bunch of the Legion died, so the people in charge are largely the ones that survived, and they're just like, well, you're the quartermaster now.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe she was a dancer before everything started. Who knows?
Yeah, cool. We'll discover that through play, through the campaign. That would be cool. And the Marshal.
Yeah, I gave the Marshal a name because I saw Steven was giving the Lord Keeper a name. She's Marshal Valeria Zardani. She's from Orite. It sounds like some of my friends down the pub asking me if I'm all right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, they're a cosmopolitan sort of people with like embroidery and garments and whatnot. Obviously, Valeria doesn't do that sort of thing. She's in the army, but she does like on her uniform. She does keep like, all right, used to wear. That's gonna distract me now. They used to wear They wear masks all the time, but she keeps her mask kind of like clasped to her belt. But she has a reputation for being fearless, although her personality is more cold and cautious. And she just looks crisp. She looks like someone who's trying to like keep together, a working army, a sane army, which fits a marshal, I guess.
Cool.
So good luck whoever has to play her next week.
I'm sure they will be pleased.
I wonder if the mask gets put on. So when does she put on her mask?
I think it's more like it's a keepsake. It's like the one keepsake she has.
Okay.
But again, anyone who play the Marshal next week, that's up to them if they want to change that. Maybe they'll never know that she has a mask.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe her mask is herself.
As an aside, Raghav, what do you imagine is your like official rank within the Legion?
I have no clue how the Legion works. I'm guessing
this is your chance to come up with it.
Oh. So I'm guessing that commander is like the I guess the first question would be what's the difference between the marshal and the commander?
The marshal is the one who is like the personnel officer, pretty much.
Yeah, like he's the one that marshals the troops. The commander is the one that makes the military decisions.
So, could you give me an example of what a marshal would do, like in a
they
day?
recruit soldiers. They're the ones that are in charge of making certain that they're like not sleeping in filth and that hygiene is kept up around the camp. Things like that.
Okay, kind of like the HR of the army.
Yeah, like the commander picks the missions, but the marshal picks who gets to go on the missions.
Okay. So they're kind of like two different roles. They're not reporting to each other, I guess.
The commander is sort of like in charge of the big scale. Like they're kind of the executive, and then everyone else usually is sort of like the kind of like they're in charge of more specific things. Like the commander is kind of in charge of the big picture, and then everybody else is kind of more small picture.
Right. So I guess where Ragav is like more in the very first leadership position. So he's just beginning to become a good leader, and not really having advanced through the leader ranks, if that makes sense.
So maybe like lieutenant or sergeant.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know the military terms, but this would be like the person who used to be on the field more, and now is doing more.
I'm just writing the annals right now, so I need to be certain that the tone is set.
Awesome. Cool. So I forgot one thing actually, but when we ended the mission phase. But to recap shortly, what we're gonna do now is to record XP. And now that we have the reason why I did it in the wrong order was that I wanted to have the marshal assigned so that they can do the XP, because that's their responsibility. But after that, I think that I'll just ask you, the commander, what kind of mission you want to have focus on next time. And we'll start with doing the campaign actions next time, because I think it would be nice for the someone who is the quartermaster for a long time to perhaps do them, if that's okay.
So you mean we can discuss the next mission next session, or sessions, or now?
I will let's do XP first, and I will explain what I want you to decide. So quartermaster, of course, you are super ready for this assignment. No, I mean Marshal, you're super ready for this assignment and very well prepared.
Yeah, very prepared. So soldier. Okay, I'm very prepared. So yeah, I mean, you get XP every time you roll a desperate action, and I think So at the end of each mission, mark 1 XP, and you can go either the playbook, which is the big circle with the red mark on it, or you can go to any of your attributes. So you can mark 1 XP if you survive the mission. So I'm gonna do that for.
And everyone else can do that too, because everyone else also survived.
And Ragav, because you have 4 separate XP tracks, you can either mark it to your character, which means you're starting to mark towards like getting a new special ability, or you can mark it to one of the 3 categories of stats: insight, prowess, or resolve. And that track fills, you get a new dot there.
I think I'm going for prowess.
Okay.
This is me watching how other people fight and learning.
Right. Wise, it's a wise officer. This.
Yeah.
So for the medic, you mark 1 XP if you help your squad through medical knowledge or emotional comfort.
Not yet.
Didn't get any emotional support from Thorn.
Yeah. I
told you not to die since I cared about you.
Well, you decide, but
I know.
over
I
as being an
I
asshole.
just wanted to clarify that I did tell you that I cared about you. So don't
I
act
was-
like I just said fuck you. I'm just saying.
I was joking. I was still trying to be
joking as
character.
well. I'm joking as
Give me a
well. I'm not offended.
It's just that he has a different way of showing you that he cares.
Yeah, yeah, very different.
For the officer, you get 1 XP if you help your squad through enforcing discipline or strategic planning. Sounds like you did a lot of that with your channels and flashbacks and whatnot. So you get 1 more XP.
Yay!
So do you want to continue investing in prowess then?
I'm going to put that one into resolve.
Okay.
For the scout, which is myself, if you help your squad through stealth or foresight, not really. She mostly just looked down on everyone.
I mean, given how we perform, we're sure to perform. That's a kind of foresight.
Yeah.
You did bring the climbing kit. At least.
I did.
just wanted to say that, yeah, you did. Somebody brought the climbing gear.
Yeah. Also, this is it's a kind of a point in this game actually, because you, as the players, decide if you triggered it or not. I have no say in that.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I did. I did help the squad, I guess. You know what? I'll take it because whoever gets the player next, should have as much XP as they should. And for the sniper, if you help your squad through keen observation or key shots, it's totally fine.
Yeah. Like, what about taking out the whole sub army?
Yes, I take it.
All right, and for everyone else, if you brought into play your heritage or traumas, definitely them two Panyar folk. that sounds really weird. Sorry.
I feel offended. Take that back. No, I'm joking.
Sorry. The our two Panyar comrades in arms. Sounds like they did.
Yeah, I feel like I probably
Yeah.
I don't even know what my heritage is supposed to do. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot like you invent what it means in play. Like it gives you some like general sense of what the culture is about, but a lot of it is like deciding what that means to your character and how your character dresses their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna say I did that as well with the climbing thing. And last one is you also get XP for per threat of the highest threat opponent on the mission.
2.
Was the highest threat opponent the Thorn?
Yes.
I take a tick then.
It's a 2. It's 2 XP.
Oh, is it 2? Wow.
And where would you like to put the 2 XP, Ragav?
What? Sorry, I was going through my Barton traits. Sorry, can you say that again?
You got another 2 XP for the threat that we took down.
Yay. Let's see. Should that go to insight?
That could go to
you'll want to fill one of these eventually.
Yeah, let's actually. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I should be more balanced in this or just start hammering one. Let's add that one to resolve also because I want to get consort.
Okay, and you got 2 from that, so 1 more.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, both to resolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How's that for filling it up?
Good job. Yeah, and that was it. Yep. So you are going to advance now. You're going to advance into the Western Front, actually. So what you do now is that let's see. Here, I have so many pages over here. So yeah, let's see. Just a second. Advance. You roll pressure to see how much time you use to advance. That is I don't actually. I guess it's just a d6 plus.
Plus 0.
No, it's not actually, is it? Blah, blah, blah. Let me do this. Huh. There is a button on the sheet. I think that's the easiest for now. I'm actually not quite sure.
Maybe just press it.
Add time below. Yeah, let's just press it. See what happens.
Ooh.
0 dice, the lowest. Okay, yeah, so it's just like, cool, I get it now. It's the amount of, it determines the amount of dice you have. So with 0, you roll 2 and take the best die. And for the pressure die, it is 1 means that you tick 1 tick of time when you advance.
Okay.
So that's the best possible result.
Okay.
So now you're in the Western Front, and the decision I was telling you about that you as a commander need to take is what kind of mission are we focusing on in the Western Front? And there's 2 types of mission you can have here. There's either the assault mission, which is a kind of mission to usually to boost morale and stuff like that, and is more like of a direct, it says, I guess it says a bit in itself what it does.
Yeah.
And a recon mission, which is like to get intel usually. So yeah, which one of those types of missions would you like to?
So the morale maximum is 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the like getting intel is more useful right now.
Yes. Cool. So,
and this is so the way this works is this sets us up for the next mission. Okay.
I'm gonna actually I can just explain that now. So what this does is that I know now as the MC or GM, I guess, I don't know, which kinds of mission I'm gonna roll on. So there's a table in this game where I just roll up random missions, basically, which gives both like what kind of mission it is a little bit, and what kind of rewards it is, and also what kind of penalties you get if you don't do them. So basically I'll roll up 3 missions, and you'll only be able to do 2 of them. You'll do one of them like you did today, like playing with your characters, and there's also a secondary mission where you will just do 1 fortune roll to see how it goes with the other squad. We'll get more into that when we do it next time, but basically you get the rewards for that mission as well. And the last mission you automatically fail. So whatever penalties that has, for example, if you could take extra time or extra pressure, or you could lose people, or I don't know, there's a lot of things that can happen on when I roll on my random table. But I will present 3 recon missions to you next time that I randomly roll, and yeah, you can choose as the commander which one you want to do.
Okay.
Cool. So that is the first session of Band of Blades, and we're now at the Western Front.
Oh, I also actually have a few things that I'm supposed to do for my setup. Do you want me to do them?
Yeah, do it.
Cool. So because besides like my ongoing thing, which is recording the missions and tracking who dies, I also, let me see here, answer the question, remember the Battle of Edinmark Field. Tell us the tale of the battle where the Legion's offensive was shattered. That it was a good day, and it seemed to signal the victory for humanity. That our armies marched out in force against the undead. Unfortunately, such confidence was ill-placed, and the new creatures that we had never before encountered broke us. That meant that the diseases of the render turned our numbers upon itself. and many of our number were turned to the undead that day. That what we learn from this is that we cannot hope to defeat the undead through sheer number alone, because numbers will always be our enemy when facing a foe that can turn the dead. What we must do is strike wisely and cautiously, destroy their leaders, and the hordes they command will fall. That's what it just says. I am supposed to tell that story. And then it also says I'm supposed to determine initial legion values, cross out one option from each of the 3 morale categories. Where is that? We don't have to do this now. I can do it later, but I just wanted to know before we broke up.
Actually, I don't know, because I never had the lore keeper in a campaign before.
I think if you scroll down further,
It says it's for the back at camp list on the Skydagger keep sheet.
oh no, if you go to lore keeper, you just keep scrolling down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. We will start with that next session. Is that you do a back at camp scene, and you get to choose one of these. So our morale is high morale, so you get to choose because it's 8+. So you get to choose one of the scenes on the list there from the 8+. And we do a scene about, you frame a scene about whatever that is you want to tell from those options there.
Okay.
And that's what we do. Cool. I think I'll end the recording here, but and then do like a short round of stars and wishes, so that we can see if there is any glory to be had for also our great players around the table, and if there's something for me to do better next time. Cool. But for everyone who are maybe watching this VOD, thank you for watching. You should check out the Gauntlet where this game is. You can find the Gauntlet on Patreon, and for $8 a month you get priority access to games like this. There's a lot of games on the calendar, so if you want to play indie games and you live in indie barren land like I do, I definitely recommend checking out the Gauntlet. So yeah, bye to our viewers.